start in our class today. Just a moment. Let me bring. I was going to do it at the end of the class, but I thought it was easier while we waited for others to join. Okay. Once you will have your sketch, you are going to activate your watercolors, spraying a lot of water in them. Sorry about that. Oh, can I borrow one glass of water? There you go. And on top of the charcoal, you are going to start playing directly from your palette with the greens, okay? Directly from your palette. You're going to play on top of that, like this, on top of the charcoal, okay? It's an exercise, and let it sit. Ryan, Dalia, welcome back. Welcome back. So this is what you are going to do. And I don't want perfection, all right? And if you ask, why did you add some shades there? Because when you will try to add colors of the water, you're going to have to mix colors directly in the palette, okay? And it'll mix with the charcoal. I don't want perfection. I just want very, very loose, all right? This is homework for next week. But again, I insist, try to take your time just to sketch very loosely and take the time to let it sit. As you will let it sit, it'll start forming different shapes. I want you to try that so that your more freestyles comes up and arises. All right? Very good. So we're going to start the class today. That was a very, very quick demonstration for how to do the homework next week. I'm going to put this here. And let's get ready. I'm going to pull another sketchbook. So you already saw the example of what we are going to be doing today while others are joining. Let me open one page. Give me just 1 second. We'll do it here. So as I said before, everybody has a piece of paper and everybody has this glued at the bottom of your page. Can you run out of glue? Completely? Okay, that's okay. We run out of glue. So those who were not able to completely stick it at home. Let's get hands-on. Everybody has a mechanical pencil in your workstations and a reference. We are going to start now painting and drawing at the same time. We are not going to sketch and then paint. So try to have your watercolors available there. And we are also going to go very, very loose. Hey, I don't know sketching. I don't know drawing. It's easy. We are going to use our dot-to-dot drawing technique, okay? Dot-to-dot drawing technique. I'll remind you, as there is not enough glue now, you can glue this at the end of your, at home, at the end of the class. Just remember to put it at the bottom because we are not going to use the bottom. To begin sketching, I am going to fold this to make it easier for you to see it. Just a second. We are going to begin sketching and painting together the watercolor palette here, which is basically a square or a box. Everybody start with me. I am going to draw four points just to give me the idea of where I want to draw my watercolor palette. Just four dots or 4 points. And I am going to begin just by joining these dots, like dot-to-dot drawing. And at this point, I am going to say something. In our class, we have advanced artists who have drawn in the past. If you want to go ahead and draw it completely. We are going to set 5 items in our page today, all right? But if you are newer to the class or you want to go with me, join me on drawing together with me. Same thing, if you are more advanced on painting, you can start painting anytime, no problem. But if you are newer and you want to go with me on painting, please just follow me. And everybody be mindful that we have a mixed class of beginners and more advanced, all right? So I am going to keep going with drawing this. And when drawing it, I already have a square. I am just going to create one line here and one line here. It doesn't have to be perfect to create the watercolor palette. Now I am going to go for details. Details, I am going to round this, and I am going to round this. And you know, I don't like using erasers, okay? So you can draw on top of that. So I am going to round this, and I am going to round this, and I am going to round these sections as well, just to create this watercolor palette. All right? But as I said before, today we are going to paint and draw at the same time. So it's gonna be very fun. Before I keep going, I want to draw all these little watercolor pans, and guess what? I don't have to make them perfect. I just need some. So I don't even need to count them exactly for how many there are in the reference picture. The picture is just a reference. It's not exactly to draw it as it is. Most importantly is how we will use the watercolors. That is really the most important part. So as you see, I am not going for perfect. I am just drawing these little pans. Most importantly is going to be the shades that we will add to this box. All right? Typically, these watercolor boxes or sets of paint, typically they have 3 deposits like this inside where we can mix colors. So I'm gonna draw them. They don't have to be exact. Remember, this has to be just very loose, very, very loose. All right? Everybody following? Fine. Now we are going to pick, we have 2 brushes in our workstations. One large round brush and one small round brush. We're going to use both of them, but I am going to begin with the large one. And to begin with the large one, first we're going to paint. I am going to wet all my watercolor palette. Typically I put my hand there just to avoid the page to wet. And I am going to add a lot of water, okay? A lot of water, as you are seeing. Don't think that because you're adding lots of water, it's gonna be bad. No, all the opposite. You have to add a lot of water. That's very, very important. And hands on. Let's paint on this. We are going to begin. And if we see it, oh, come on. We see it like it's white, but I don't want white, white, white. I want like more. I'm gonna pick this ochre color, this one that you see here, and let me bring a little thing to create a photo. Just a second. I'm sorry. So you can see it. Oops. All right. So in your lead, because you should have a lead where you'll have a space. I don't have enough space. You can take a white space, a blank space where you can create a puddle. Creating a puddle means bringing water from my cup and creating a puddle here of water. Creating a puddle of water. And I am going to pick a little bit of the yellow ochre color. I don't need more, just a little bit. It's very, very sheer. And with this very sheer color, I am going to paint the complete box. Because I don't want a box fully white. I'm gonna paint it with that very, very light ochre color. You see, it's just very, very, very light. All right? Mine isn't one. And as we are gonna be working fairly fast on this, I am going to do this. I don't know how to say this action in English. How do you say this? What? What I'm doing with my hand. Fan. Okay, I'm fanning my piece of paper just for the moist to get absorbed a little bit by the piece of paper. And we are gonna start in a moment going for the details. All right. I remind you, if you are someone who has painted in the past and want to start differently, please go ahead or continue listening to some tips while we are painting with these watercolors. All right, yes?
I just found a technique for when you do it too dark. Dab it with your napkin.
You can dab it with the napkin, definitely. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Okay, now that it's not completely wet, I am going to start picking colors from my palette. the colors as they are. They don't have to be exactly the colors from the reference. So I am going to go with the colors as they are in my palette. You should have enough colors or borrow some colors from someone sitting next to you. And actually, pick the color directly from your palette, and with the tip of your brush, start painting the first pan. I am going to clean very, very well my brush by rinsing in the cup of water. And then I am going to go for the next color, picking the color directly from my watercolor palette. And it'll stay like a drop of water, and it's completely fine. It'll dry a little bit later. Be mindful not to put your hands on top of that. Just be mindful. I am going to rinse my brush. I am going to go for the next color. Please remember, in my case, I am going for the colors as they are already set in my palette, all right? So I am going to start going on these colors. Please, you do the same. When I'll finish these colors, I am gonna go see how you are doing. But there is still we are not finished yet, okay? We will need to add shades to our palette to give it volume. And we'll begin that in a moment. And definitely we're gonna have to wait a little bit for these little drops of colors that we are putting there to dry. But it'll dry, don't worry. I mean, it's wet outside, but I actually appreciate that you all came to class today. Thank you so, so much. Thank you. Oh, you saw what happened there? A little spot of paint came to my watercolor. Do you think I'm gonna clean it? No, I'm gonna leave it. I want it. I want more of that. So actually, I'm not gonna clean it. I love it. I am going to go for the next color. I am going to paint the next one. I am going to pick the next one. And maybe later today, I'm gonna show you something when I finish painting this one. As you see, it's little drops of color that are there, and it may actually take some time to completely dry. And we are gonna keep going. If any of you gets desperate, like, oh, I want this to dry faster, you can pick a piece of napkin and just curl it like this and create something like what I am doing right now. Like this, you see? And if you want to do this, you can come close here and actually pick some of the color. You see how that absorbed? And that way I remove some of the excess color, okay? I am going to absorb more from this. I am going to absorb some of this, just in case you want to. And I can use the other side as well, actually, to continue in doing it. Let me absorb some of this. You saw that. That was very, very fast. I'm gonna absorb some of this. Why am I doing this? I am doing this just to try to speed up a little bit the process of it to dry, but I can actually let it set to dry. And when you paint at home, you can let it set to dry in a desk where you have always your watercolors out there, so that whenever you want to paint, you go back to your workstations. Truly, I always have it at home, and I have like 3 different places in my home where there are colors. Something that Adan doesn't like, but Adan is very supportive. So,
Are you the organized one?
yes. So I am gonna keep going with adding colors, and when I'll finish this second row of colors, I am going to go very, very quickly to your workstations and see how you're doing, okay? Give me just 1 second. I am going to keep going. Oh, I don't have any reds. I want to add some reds there. Red is always very fun. And pink, also some violet, that's purple, and violet. Very good. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. I am gonna very briefly walk through your workstations, but we are gonna come back to paint. Love it, actually. Don't pick it up. I love this. Oh, and you leave that? It's completely fine. It's lovely. Very nice, very nice. Oh my God, very nice. I love this. When it dries up, it just creates the most beautiful effects. So, no, I love it. Megan, welcome back. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me very quickly go. Hey, welcome back. That's lovely, friend. That's lovely. I love it when this water spreads and the color spreads and we feel like, oh, I love it. Completely love
Oh, I
it.
had mine perfect until I
Baby,
poured all
that's
of my
beautiful. I love it. Good job. Good job.
Mine spattered all over the place. Like
The box. And we also see that here in the center, we have some details in black. But hey, this is where we start training our eyes. Look at this little piece of black. It's not continued, right? Do you see there is only one piece here? Because it's where it grips. So these are the kind of things that we start training ourselves to look at. While they don't need to be perfect, if we identify these little things, we make a difference in our paintings. So first, let's start with the shade. And to create the shade, I am going to create, and actually I can use this bottle. And to create the shade, I can use a color blue, just a little bit, and just a little dab of black, a little bit. And that gives me like a dark blue, ultramarine, blackish. I don't want to put weird names on it. It's a dark blue that looks a little bit dark. All right? But I don't start putting it there, okay? The way I am going to create the shade, it's by this. I am first going to rinse my brush. I am going to clean it. And please tell me, do you see all this space that I'm showing you? Do you see this as well? Very good. All right. I am going to rinse my brush, and with water, I am going to walk outside the box only with water. Okay? Just a little bit. And then I bring the color, and then I dab in it. Okay? To create the shade in the outer. All right? So if you are more experienced and you know better how to control it, it's fine. You can go using it another way. For me and for teaching purposes, I am going to do the same on the side. I am going to paint with water, and then I am going to pick a little bit of the bottle color of the shade that I created to create the outside. And truly, I am going to leave it on the upper and on the side. Okay? I am going to do exactly the same on bringing water on this side. Sorry that I am moving here around. I am going to come to this side. It's just water. It's just water. And then I pick color, and then I put some of the color there. If I feel the color is very, very strong, well, I can continue working with my brush and just smudge it a little bit. But again, the idea is just to create a shade of the box, okay? A cute shade of the box. All right? You saw how we did that? I am very, very likely to do exactly the same with the inner boxes. With the not inner boxes, with the inner sections of the box. Let me actually start with this one on top. I am going to paint like the square inside this section of the box. And I am going to pick a little bit of this bottle color that I have. And I am just going to color it. And since probably it's a little bit dark, I am going to run the tip of my brush all around it, and I am going to do exactly the same with the rest of the sections of the box. Isn't that fun? Yes, and that also helps us understand better how we can play with creating shadows. All right? This way, it's error-proof, I don't know how to say this, that we can create slowly a shade in our box without fearing of going perfect or completely imperfect. And if you see, it's also very, very fast how it starts drying up. Very good. And this starts giving it some volume, okay? Now, as we are training our eyes to see the details, can you see that here in this side of where the paint pans are, there is a little shadow as well in here, in this line? But hey, if I was gonna put it now, it's still very, very wet, and all my colors will move around. So I'm gonna hold back from doing it right now. But it's important that I remember that there is a shadow there. And at this point, I am going to tell you a trick of mine. And it's real, man. It is completely real. A trick of mine is that when I am painting something, this is real. Actually, I have a list of these things in my current painting. I typically get a piece of paper and I go on and I type shades on paint pans. And that's my number one. I will create number two, number three. I write little notes to remind me about the things that I want to go back and work on. I had not told you this before, right? Okay, so as an example, since this is very, very wet, and I don't want to ruin these colors at this moment, I take a note. So this helps me when I am painting something more serious, okay? And I want to make sure that I don't forget to add details, and then I go back to my details in case I do that. How did I do that? And that's another tip. It's when we paint using other type of media like oils or acrylics, it is very important to keep some notes, okay? To go back and work on something to not forget. All right, that was just a tip. Let's go back to it. As you see, this is drying very fast. Actually, these sections are drying so fast, I am almost ready now to add some fun colors there. I'm gonna do that. And to add some colors, I am going to use the same technique. Oh, wait a second. This is very, very, dry. I am going to moist my palette again. It always happens. It always happens. So I'm gonna moist it again. And I am going to start creating these colors. They don't have to be exact, but a really, really nice way to make it easier is by picking water from my jar and just adding water there. Water, really. And then I add a color. Let me add this blue, which I like a lot. And I am going to dab. I am going to dab a little bit of the color. All right? And it's actually a little drop. And it looks similar to it. It's not exactly it, but it's similar. And with that, I am going to create actually another one. Let's do the purple one. I am going to pick water from my jar. And I am going to create here this shape. Let me pick this purple. And I am going to add a drop. There you go. Love it. With the same color that I have in here, I am going to create just some spots there. Just some spots. If I need to remove some water from my brush, it's fine. I can remove some water from my brush. I am going to create now a pink one that looks like a map. I'm gonna pick a little bit of this pink, and I am going to add pink color there. Oh, this is starting to look much, much beautiful. All right, and it still needs more details, but it's fun going through this process. Actually, let me start creating some maps of colors all in the other section where there are some blues, where there are, and I can use colors that I like. I can use brown. It's actually kind of fun trying to recreate something like a watercolor palette. And you know what? We can go back and add more shades if we want to create more volume on our palette. We can go back and do that later. It's fine. I'm gonna start just creating all of this. Doesn't have to have exactly a shape, a specific shape, as you know. All right. But while this is happening, I want to make some fun here in my page because it's just very white. So in my palette, you know what? I am going to pick this one blue. I like this blue a lot, and I am going to create a big puddle with this blue. Yes, with this blue, and I am going to grab my brush as if it was a cigar, and I was going to remove the ashes, and I am going to dab in it just to create around it a little bit of spots, very clear. Very clear. They are not very stained. So I added a lot of water, okay? Just a little bit of that. Love it. And that immediately brings some life to my page. And it also makes me not be so feared of committing mistakes. And actually, what's left there, I'm gonna add some on top of the bottom piece just to start actually mixing it with it, because it's a junk journal piece. Very nice. Hey, we are not done yet with it, but we need to keep going. We need to keep going. So what we're gonna do now, before we add the details of the black that I showed you before, and maybe a little bit more of shadows, let's start drawing our next element, which is the brushes, all right? So while this dries up, I am going to draw some brushes here, like these ones. Do I need to draw exactly these brushes? No, just something similar. Do I need to be perfect? No. The most beautiful part is having fun using watercolors. So I am going to start creating here one brush. It's off the camera. Okay, let me move a little bit this, just a second, so that you can see it. Don't worry. Thank you then. Can you see there my reference in the camera?
Yes.
All right, very good. Very good, thank you. So I am gonna put it there. There. And I am going to start creating the first brush. Hey, to create my first brush sketch, I'm gonna make use of my dot-to-dot drawing technique so that I at least have an idea of where I'm gonna put it. And I'm gonna begin with the small brush. So with the small brush, I am going to put a dot there, one dot there, and one dot here, like in a triangle, okay? Like in a triangle. With that, I'm gonna join the lines as best as I can. Look, I didn't even catch the dot, but it gave me the idea of the triangle. And that's the stick of my brush. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now, I am going to do a little bit of a square, a rectangle there, and then the bristles. That's my first brush. Easy, easy peasy. I'm gonna do the second one, which is gonna be a little bit larger than this one, so I'm gonna put another dot there, another dot there, and another dot here, like in a triangle shape, okay? I am going to join dots. They don't need to be perfect. They don't need to be perfect. And then I am going to create the rectangle and then bristles. It's not exactly as in the image, but again, please remember, this is just a reference, just a reference. I want another brush very much like in the same size as that one, maybe a little bit thicker. So I am going to begin also there. I'm gonna create the dot of the triangle. And I am going to go for a triangle with a rounded shape at the bottom.
Oh,
Very nice. And then I am going to create the bristles. I don't know, I'm kind of in the mood for a flat brush. So I'm gonna create, instead of this big round brush, I'm gonna make it flat. So, but I'm gonna make that one a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna finish here in a triangle, and I am going to just go and make the dots meet with our lines. This is a thicker brush. I draw a rectangle, and then I draw a flat brush. I was in the mood for a flat brush. Very nice. I'm gonna draw only 4, don't need more, because I wanna go painting. So let's begin painting. Since this is a narrower space, I am gonna use my smaller brush, And I am going to begin using ochre color. Marco, should I for this ochre color, because these are black and I can use black, but I want to begin with ochre. So in the end, this is my piece, I can work with it. Now what I want to try is this. Instead of creating a puddle, I want to pick this directly from my palette, the copper color, and I am going to put a little bit of this color there, and then I am going to rinse my brush, and I'm gonna pick water from my brush, and with water, I am going to pull downwards. And it actually creates kind of an effect that it's darker on top and lighter at the bottom. I'm gonna do it with a dark color so that you see it. I am gonna do it actually with dark brown, all right? So my dark brown color should be very, very wet. I pick some of the brown. I am going to put some brown color there on top. I am going to rinse my brush. I am going to pick water from my cup, and I am going to pull it from top to bottom. And as you see, it creates an effect of it's darker on the top. Can you see it? All right, please try it. This is now helping us exercise, loosen the fear of picking color directly from the palette. All right? I want to create now another brown. I'm gonna create a black one. So I'm gonna pick black color, and it should be very, very wet in my palette. I am going to pick black. I am going to rinse my brush. I am going to pick water from my brush, and with the water already in my brush, I am gonna start pulling downwards. I am working with my smallest brush available so that I can have better control of the tip. You saw that, right? Very good. We are trying to create like a gradation, okay? Gradation. And to complete my set of brushes, I am going to create one. What color would be good? I am going to mix there black and blue at the same time. All right, let's see how that goes. So I am going to pick, my palette should be very, very wet. I am going to pick a little bit of blue, and I am going to do the same. I am gonna put it on top, okay? I am gonna, oh, you saw a spot there? I'm gonna, of course, love it. I'm gonna leave it there. And now, on top of that, I am going to bring a little bit of black. I'm gonna put it there on top. Oof, starts getting fun. And now, I am gonna rinse my brush. I'm gonna pick water from my brush, and I am going to pull from top to bottom and see what happens. Ooh, I love it. I remember back then when I was in art school, I had one brush that had a stick like this one, like bluish, black. It was so fun. Very nice, very nice.
Marco, aren't you an engineer too, though?
I am. I have both. In Mexico, it's easier to have two careers. In Mexico, it's easier. It's less expensive.
I think that's pretty phenomenal. You've got like both sides firing.
Yes, yes.
What's your other career?
Very nice. Fine arts.
Oh, engineer.
I'm
Oh.
an engineer. I'm an engineer. Yes. I'm a mechanical engineer. Very nice.
Did you do mechanical drawings?
I did. I used to. I no longer. But that was my favorite courses when I was in engineering school. And you know what? I actually made drawings for my friends. And for my friends, I have a friend of mine. I still have a contact with them. We've been together since we were in kindergarten. We went to kindergarten, primary school, high school, then our career. And in our career, he was not so good at drawing. His name is Mario Torres. And Mario, he looks a lot like me, but he has hair. And he would cry. And he would cry. And he would say, I cannot draw these things. And I would say, don't worry, brother. I'm going to make them for you. But guess what? The whole semester, I did it for them. And then the final exam was drawing in class. So there we are, drawing in class in these big tables, and then he sits next to me and he's sweating wet. What am I gonna do? And I said, you're gonna follow my instructions. And I was telling him, you are gonna grab this ruler, you are gonna put it 95 angles. What is 95 angles? 95 angles is this. We were like bumbling, like, you have with 95 angles? Okay, we passed the course. But to make it fair, he helped me a lot with math. He was super smart in math, and I was not so clever in math. That's lovely. All right, I'm going around this.
A symbiotic relationship.
Oh my God. I love it. Very nice. Very nice. All right. So
Computer science.
let's keep going. Now we are gonna go for continuing painting our brushes. Hey, and now you know how to paint shadows, right? So in the brushes, we'll paint shadows a little bit later. Not right now because they are still very wet. At this moment, what I want to do is to paint a little bit this section of the brushes that is kind of a grayish color. So I am going to pick a little bit of blue, a little bit of black, and I am going to add water to make it very, very sheer, very, very transparent. And I am going to, let me set this here, and I am going to paint just the upper part. It doesn't have to be perfect, just a little bit, just a little bit. We'll come back to it. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I am going to start painting bristles. And for bristles, yes, we can use like a light brown color. And I grab some directly from my palette. I put the dot of color there, and then I grab water, and I start playing with pulling or pushing the water to create this.
Marco, look what Roxanne is doing. She's putting
It's
paint on
perfect.
her brushes.
I love it. Yes, I love it. I love it. Once I have that, I can add a little bit of more color in some sections just to give it some interest. Like this is a bristle. It doesn't have to be perfect, I insist. We are playing with the watercolors. I am going to grab some of the copper color. I am going to grab water from my palette, from my cup. And just to play a little bit with it, I am going to add just a dab of orange, maybe. Just a dab of orange. I will come back to this later. Doesn't have to be finished now. I am just trying to advance with it. You already are getting the speed on how we're working. There you go. And while that wets a little bit more, and I see how the shapes turn out, because it's very, very wet, I am very, very quickly come back to my other palette, where next tip that some of you already know. When we want to paint very, very fine details, either we use a very fine brush or we use the tip of the brush. But when we use the tip of the brush, please remember to put your eyes on the tip of the brush, okay? When you are painting. When you will paint fine lines, don't paint looking at the paper. I know that sounds weird, but when you are gonna paint fine lines, put your eyes at the tip of the brush, because that way you can have more control on how you move it, okay? Like in these details of black, I am going to use black directly from my palette. And actually the colors are still very, very wet. So I am gonna go slowly. But look, I am going to put my eyes on the tip of the brush and not on the paper. That really makes a difference. All right? So, and that is how we can get a finer line. All right? Remember, don't put your eyes on the paper. Put your eyes on the tip of the brush. I am gonna move around to make it easier for me. And I am going to put my eyes on the tip of the brush. There you go. Made it. Awesome. And I am just going to finish the detail here on the other side. And the two pieces of detail, one here and one here. Doesn't have to be perfect. All right? But while that is drying up, and while the brushes are drying up, because we will come back to them, I want us to draw these paint tubes. Of course, I love green, but we can do the orange, whichever you want. The most interesting part and why I chose this is because beneath the tubes, there is a dark shade. All right, and that is why at the beginning of the class we were practicing shades or shadows. All right, so I am going to go actually with the green, but to go with the green we first need to draw this green. So let me show you. I am gonna put it here. Do you see it here? All right, so I want to draw my paint tube down here. Okay. And using the dot-to-dot technique to have an idea where I will place this item, I am going to begin with the back of the tube. So the back is about this size, okay? I just draw two dots. And it's like a rectangle, but it's not completely flat. It's more like a triangle. So the next set of dots, the next two, are probably a little bit narrower, okay? And let me draw this, so to give me a better idea of where I am. I am going to draw this. I am going to make these two dots meet. And before I keep going, at the bottom of this tube, it's an oval, okay? Or ellipse, an oval or ellipse. So I know I can draw the dots, or I can go a little bit like drawing that oval like this, because it's gonna be a little bit easier. And I am gonna do this oval there. There is no problem if there is no eraser. Do not worry. Do not worry, please. All right? It's gonna be super fun painting this because there are lots of shades there. All right. But before we keep going, we are going to paint this tip of the tube, where I need to draw first one half moon here about at the middle of this ellipse. All right, like a half moon. And then I am going to draw two little straight lines and then another oval. All right? Everybody following? Very nice. Now, just to add some details to it, I want to add the detail of the color of the tube, which is going to be a green, and it's like a stripe there, and another one there that is not perfect. And at the bottom, as you have seen these tubes in the past, I will make a slight detail, which is this is a little bit wider just in the end, and there is a very fine line there. All right? So we are going to go now for painting this. And while we had created a puddle of shade, I want you to take a look at this. And this is where we train our eyes. Please see the shade is here and here. Don't paint beyond that. This is where shade is and where shade is. All right? So in the gray puddle that I had, I am going to create that shade coming from here and going to the top. Very nice. All right. I can make it a little bit wider by picking water from my jar and just walking through the edge of this shade, just to make it just slightly wider, but not a lot. Everybody following? Very good. With this same gray color, I am going to make it a little bit more transparent, just a little bit, and I am going to paint the top of the tube. And why do I paint this in gray? Because with a darker gray color, I will come later to add details. All right? Right at this point, I am not going to touch that anymore. All right? But I am going to start playing with this color below. Very good. Let's use a little bigger brush. And do you remember? We picked color directly from the palette, and then we picked water from the cup to move the color. We're gonna do the same, but we need to make sure that my palette is very wet. All right? So I'm gonna do it again, just to make sure that it's very, very, very wet. And let's begin with this fun. This one has colors ochre and green. I am going to begin with ochre, and I pick ochre directly from my palette, and I want you to see this, all right? I am going to put ochre color on this side, and you see how there is a lot of paint there, and once it's there, I rinse a little bit my brush, I bring water from my cup, and then I touch on the edges to move it, all right? Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be perfect. While this is wet, I am going to pick a little bit of green, the olive green that I have told you in the past, and I am going to dab. Excuse me?
How do you make olive green?
Olive green, it's green and brown.
Like the dark green and brown, or the
You can use, you use a lighter green preferably. Use a lighter green.
light green and brown?
And brown. And then on the other side, I'm gonna use another olive green, but hey, olive green darker. And maybe we don't have it, and thank you, Laura, for asking. So let's make a little bit of olive green. Typically, if you don't have this olive green in your palette, we'll make it, but we need somewhat like an olive green, yellowish on the other side. So I am going to mix a little bit of one green that I will have over there. I'm gonna put it in this little thing. And I am going to rinse my brush, and I am going to bring ochre, and I am gonna mix it. It requires much more ochre. So I'm gonna bring more ochre. There you go. So that's olive green, ochre and green. I am going to grab this, and I am going to come to this other side of the tube, adding as much color as I can, because then I'm gonna spread it, okay? As much color as I can. And once it's there, I grab a little bit of water, not a lot, because this spot is not so big, and I am gonna move a little bit around it, just a little bit around it. All right? And to create the color that is here, like beneath the tube, I am going to grab water just a little bit. I am going to put here like a little bit of water. I am going to grab this green, which is the olive green. And once I put there a dab of olive green, I grab water and I move it all around. I move it all around like that. I want it more intense. Well, I can dab a little bit more of the green color and just make it simple. Don't go perfect with it, all right? We are not done with it, but before we move away from this one for a moment, I am going to grab my smaller brush, and I am going to pick a little bit of the green just to put there on the tip of the tube. And now I'll move to draw one more element, all right? Now, we're gonna let it sit there for a moment, and we will come back to add more greens. Actually, you know what? If we are very, very careful, we can actually add this green on the stripes, all right? But we need to be very careful, okay? We need to be very, very careful because it's still very, very wet, all right? We can do that for now. And I am going to draw the next element. The next element is the scary glass of water. All right? Intimidating glass of water. We're gonna put it here because when we talk about the glass of water, we feel like, oh my God, how are we gonna represent the water? It's easy. We'll do it together. Don't worry. So This glass of water, use the shape. There is an oval on top. Be mindful, all this is very wet. All right? Be very, very mindful. We are going to draw a glass of water here, and the glass of water has shade as well. But I want to use the dot-to-dot technique to make sure that I at least get some dimensions of this and use this space. So I am going to begin with a dot here, a dot there, a dot here, and a dot here, just to draw the oval shape. You saw that? Just to draw the oval shape. Before I go for drawing the oval shape, I want to draw these dots at the bottom to see the size of the cup that I want to draw. And at the bottom, there will be another oval shape, okay? Which probably will go here. I have all these dots. Now I am going to join the dots to create an oval. Doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry. And then I am going to draw the sides. And doesn't have to be perfect. You saw I didn't even catch exactly the dot that I had drawn. But I'm happy with it. Very nice. Before I keep going, I made there a slight correction. I am going to draw the inner surface of the water, which is going to be there, which is about the same shape of the upper part of the glass, and the lower part of the surface. In the same way, I am going to draw the bottom of the glass, and I have a glass. Now, something that I had forgotten and that I love doing, because you know I love doing and really makes a change in our sketchbook page, is adding the names. So I am going to, and I'm sorry I had forgotten for trying to go on painting. So I'm gonna go back to here and I'm gonna say this is my watercolor palette. Okay, and these brushes I am going to put in here. Oh, being very mindful that some of these may be still wet, like in my watercolor palette, still very wet. I'm gonna be very mindful, and I'm gonna put in here round brushes.
Doing a lettering is half the fun. How do you spell palette with one L?
I said double L, but I don't know, double L, double T, maybe, but I may be wrong. And here, I don't know. Please, you write it correct. And here, this is glass or cup of water. Cup of water. It's just that adding the names makes it more fun. And actually, before we add the names, I am going to add a little bit more splatter to make it even more fun. And in this one, it's the watercolor tube. Watercolor tube. Very good. Before I go on painting, I'm gonna use a little bit of this green that I like a lot. And I am going to add just a lot of water to it, a lot of water to make it more sheer. And just the way, I mean, I don't smoke, but the way, if we were going to pick a cigar, we pick it this way and just splatter a little bit of this here and there to make it fun. It doesn't matter if some of this falls on top of the other. Very good. And actually, I would like to experiment. And with this green color, to not waste it, I am gonna grab a little bit of this blue and I'm gonna see what happens. Ooh, I love it. Very good. So I'm gonna grab some of this blue and I am gonna add some of this over there. But that was very dark. So I'm gonna add a lot of water And then I am going to add this. I like that better, much better. And to make it actually fun, I am going to add just some splatters of water itself. Water itself. It's not paint, all right? There you go. And that starts creating a very different vibe. Very good. Hands on. Let's paint the water, all right? So we want to paint the water, and we don't have a light color of the blue because the light, excuse me. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I have forgotten the break. Do you want to take a break? No. All right, let's keep going. Thank you. Adan was saying, the break. I had forgotten the break. Thank you. All right. So I am going to clean my container. And let me tell you something. Typically, these paints, I continue using them, okay? Typically. Sometimes I go wild. I go wild with it. As an example, I'm gonna show you, you don't have to do it. But sometimes, like I even do these things because I love it and I will let it sit there, okay? I will let it sit there. So sometimes I do these kind of things because it's fun, truly, before just cleaning it from my palette. Very well. So I'm gonna let it sit there and it'll turn out into something. Let's see how that turns out. We are going to begin painting the water. The water, it's light blue. You may have different colors of blue. It doesn't matter, believe me, exactly to be the light blue. What it really matters is that we create a puddle with water in our container. And I know the water may look dirtier than it is. It looks a little bit greenish. It's fine. And I am going to add a dab of this blue. Woo! And that's very, oh no, that's better. That's better. I need to add more water to make it lighter. That is gonna work. That'll work, yes. Now, let's study the glass of water. The glass of water is not completely all painted in blue. As you see, there is some sections of white or light that is reflected on the surface of the water and at the bottom of the glass and at the rim of the glass. And while we can use acrylic paint that we have in the room for creating white details, let's try to not completely paint in blue the whole water. So to make sure that I don't paint it completely, I am actually going to begin with this section, okay? Just to make sure that I don't completely paint everything. And then I am going to paint the rest. Like beneath the surface, I can. Also remember to not paint like the bottom. I just leave some white space. And while this is very wet, I am going to pick another dab of blue to make it a little bit darker. And you can experiment with another color of blue if you have other colors of blue in your palette. You know, we have different palettes for purposes of the class. But I am going to pick like this one that is not blue, is a little bit violet. I'm gonna mix it there. And while this is wet, I am going to go on dabbing some of this color. We'll come back and add other details, don't worry. But for now, this is going to be what I will do. All right? I am just dabbing a little bit of this color all around it to make it more moist, to look like moist, like there is water. And we may take a little bit more time on this one, but while I have this color here, I can create the shadow of the glass, which is super fun. And to create it, I am going to grab my smaller brush. I am going to dab a little bit more of blue. Yes, just a little bit darker, not super dark, but you already know how we are going to create a shadow. We can paint with water, or we can paint directly with this and then pull with water. Like that's what I will do. I am going to put it here so that I will have better control of this. And I am going to use this color, and I am going to walk through the end of the glass, kind of creating a line, but this line will not remain as a line, okay? I create that line, I rinse the brush, not losing a lot of time, and then with water, I come to the edge and I pull the edge to create the shade. All right? Just the edge. Very, very nice. All right? I am going to walk around the room to see how you're doing. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. No, it's fine. It's fine. You're doing fine. I love a piece of paper. That's lovely. That's lovely. Don't move it. Don't touch. Don't touch. Good job. Good job. Very nice. This is so sweet. So sweet. Look at that. Wow. Wow. Stunning. Stunning. Very, very nice. I love it. Oh my God, this is fantastic.
Put some glue on the white instead of like so pure. Blotted it out. That works. Yeah, it does.
I love it. I love it.
I made a shadow. Oh, I know, it's been about a year. Three separations in 3 years. The latest scam. And then I see the message come on my phone. It's being blessed. This is the deputy sheriff of Mecklenburg County, and your loved one, somebody, it was very garbage, is in critical condition. I was thinking, oh my God, my husband, because he's the only person that had me is like in a car accident, bleeding out on the highway. Troopers trying to get out of it. And so the first thing I did was not call his number. Right, yeah. I called my husband. I thought he was all right. I actually started calling, I'm sure, because this might actually go along with because I said to him, I still care about you.
All right.
I care about you as a person. Marriage just didn't work. Right.
All right. So let's go for the next one. Again, before we move to our last element there, because our last element is going to be 3 little watercolor pans that are not in this picture. These 3 little watercolor pans, you're gonna have to come with me on this journey because I couldn't put them in the picture, all right? So we're gonna draw them together. Please join me on that. And I will say, actually, let's begin drawing them now while everything else sets a little bit more. Let's begin with that. I am gonna go hands-free with it, and I am going to draw one first so that you see it, and we're going to draw like 3 of those, all right? So I am going to begin with this shape, just a second, creating a watercolor pen. It's mostly about the details, what we will need to add together, all right? So it's something, all of mine is still very, very wet. So, all right, we are gonna draw 3 like those, and in the center of this, we are going to draw, of course, like the well of the watercolor pen. I didn't bring my watercolors like I did the last week, but I'll show you in a minute. So I'm gonna draw the next one. Yes. I am drawing a watercolor pen. Can I borrow one of yours? I think you have the watercolor pen, the little well. Yes, the little square. Yes. It's just that I didn't have a reference to put there. I'm sorry. There you go. Thank you. Let me show you. Yes, because I know not seeing it, it's kind of hard in the beginning. All right? All right. So we are going to draw 3 like this. If you pull them out of this box, it's a little box, okay? And we're gonna put 3 of this. What's interesting, it's in the back. There you go, maybe it's in the back. There you go, in the back of the page, there should be an example. Now, what's gonna be fun about it is that we are going to paint it with colors as if they were transparent, okay? As if they were transparent. And we are gonna paint them together, 3 colors. We're gonna draw 3 of them, all right? That was the idea. Good. So would you mind please helping me taking this back for Caroline? So it's those 3 little pens.
Can we see that? Again, it's not
Oh, sure, can you please walk this way and show her?
And me too.
Sure. Let me draw another one there. Yes, just like little squares. Typically the backs, it's color white. I wouldn't want us to draw something color white completely, so we'll draw them. We'll paint them in different colors. It's 3 little boxes. It doesn't have to be perfect, please remember. Doesn't have to be perfect. In the back of your references, maybe there is one.
I pointed out an eraser.
Yeah, but it looks a little bit different. But you'll see. Let's paint them. Please draw 3 boxes, and it'll make a lot more sense when you'll see them. Sorry that I don't have one reference for that. While we continue letting this set to dry, I am gonna pick a little bit of water from this water that I splattered there, just to make sure that I don't create a more messy thing. All right, so let's start painting these boxes, all right? Let me add some of this color there. Very good. Let's start painting these boxes. We are gonna paint one in color red. What I want to show you when painting these little boxes, which are small containers of watercolor, it's really the dimension we are going to create. So we are not going to paint them in white as they typically are white containers. We're going to paint them with a complete color. As an example, let's paint the first one in color red or pink, whatever you have. And I am going to pick color directly from my palette that should be wet. I put the color there, and then I move around with water through the whole box. And once, can you find one that it's individual, that is not in a box? There, thank you. It looks like this, all right? it's a little box that has watercolor inside. But while these are white, ours, we're not going to make them white. I am actually going to remove paint from the bottom and from the side. Okay? The idea is to show you just creating dimension, all right? But it's not completely white. And while this is wet, I want to grab a little bit of more of this color, and I am going to add it just in the surface of the box, just in the top of the box. The final detail of this, we'll add it at the very, very end, okay? This will also need to have shades. So that one, as you can see, the pink is coming to the side, and with my dry brush, I remove this because I want it to be kept like in a lighter color than the top, all right? So go slow and try to make sure that you don't get a lot of the darker color on the sides. We are going to paint 3 boxes, 3 different colors, as if they were watercolor boxes. Thank you so much. I didn't want to. This is it. All right? This is it. Like if I was going to put it here, it looks like this. All right? Did you see it? So the idea is that we're going to draw this. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you so much. So we are going to paint 3. Choose the colors. I like a lot this one color that I have here. Remember that your palette needs to be very wet. I am going to paint with this color. So I add the color, rinse the brush, and very carefully move the color all around the box, making sure that before it dries, I will clean the sides to keep them lighter. So I rinse my brush, I dried my brush, and then I am going to remove paint from the sides. All right? Trying to keep in the darkest color just the surface of the box. And you can see on this Caroline's little pan how this is full of color. This is really what we want, okay? Because they will not stay white while we have them in our watercolor palettes. That is why I wanted us to not keep them white and instead just do that. All right? But we'll add shades to them. Let me add another one. Let me create one color orange. I'm gonna grab orange color from my palette. I'm gonna put it on top, rinse my brush, bring water, and start painting all around it until I completely paint the box. And hey, again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Once it's there, I rinse my brush, I dry it, and I remove color from the sides. All right? I rinse my brush, dry it, and then remove color from the sides. Most interesting part, or part of what I want you to see, it's creating the shade as well on it. So when creating the shade, we are gonna use this blue color that we had. I am going to add just a dab of black, and it creates a dark blue, blackish color. And I am going to create with that the shade at the bottom of this box by drawing this and then bringing water from my cup and moving this to the sides. You saw that, right? I'm gonna create another one with this color. I am gonna go to the bottom, and then I'll rinse my brush, and with a wet brush, I am going to move this just to create a shade. There you go. The whole idea of this exercise is to play with the color, learn more to use and control the water, use the shades. You saw that one was very, very wet. I'm fine. Doesn't scare me. I am going to create the shade still. And I am going to remove some of that with a dry brush. There you go. Now you have a better idea. What time is it?
11:36.
Very good, 11:36. So now, while we are doing this, please remember there are some details we need to add on top of these little things, and that is of these little boxes. That is why I want to make sure that the color on top is very, very intense, just the color on top, because we'll use a little bit of white acrylic to add details on top, all right? So just make very sure that the color on top, it's indeed intense. And we will come back to this. Very good. Meanwhile, I am going to go back to the watercolor tube, because we haven't finished with that yet. There are some details that we have not finished, like as an example, on the left of the tube, there is a little bit more of a darker color. So I am going to bring this back, and I am going to prepare again my olive green color with green and brown. Let me bring this brown. Green and brown. And it has to look like a darker color than the one we had used before, because with that I am going to walk the right edge, the left edge of my tube, and then I'm going to grab water from my jar and move it a little bit, just to continue giving it more dimension. And I am going to do it only on the left side, not on the right side. But this color, to not take it to waste, we are going to use it for creating some more details in this tube. Like, if you see this green is darker than this green. So I have this dark green here, and I am going to use it just on this side of the tube. Okay? To give the effect that there is a shade there. And same over here. All right? So this continues giving it volume. Typically, we should also just add a little line on the right, just a little one. And with this same color that it's very dark, we can actually create some of these details, like there is some of these shades in the thread of our tube. They are already cute as we have them. It's just interesting to use it as exercise to see where there are more colors, okay? Where there are more shades that I can look at, and that will give our piece even more reference to what that is. Actually, we didn't draw that circle, like on the label. It's an ellipse. I am gonna draw it there directly with my colors, just to give the reference that it's there. Doesn't have to be perfect. Very good. And we are moving into the details. I am going to move to the glass. This is very green. I cannot use this color for the details. Let me clean this. That's enough. And to continue using some details in the glass, I am going to prepare a puddle of blue, of dark blue. Doesn't have to be super, super dark, but it needs to be a little bit darker, because with this one, I want to create, let me put this here. I want to create actually part of the rim of the glass that is there, giving the illusion, okay, that there is a rim in the glass. And when I do these fine lines, remember, we look at the tip of the brush and not at the paper. I set my hand there. with this same color, I am going to add some more details, like here on the water, on the surface of the water. And I am going to move it with water a little bit without fully filling the jar. Just a little bit, just some idea that there is water there. Some in the back, a little bit. Just a little bit. That gives us the illusion that there is water, and definitely again at the bottom. So I pick this color, I drew a line at the bottom, and then I rinse my brush, I bring water from the brush, and I walk around it just to spread that color even more and create an even more intense shade of the glass. Details of light. As we have not added details of light on the brushes, I want to grab, and there are 4, Adan will put 1 on each table, and please pass them around. I will grab a little bit of acrylic paint. Let me just grab some, and I'll give this to Adan. I'll just take a little drop, just a drop, as you saw there. Listo. And I'm gonna put this here. With my little brush, making sure that after I use this white acrylic paint, I clean my brush very, very well. I am going to bring the reference of my brushes, and I am going to create some details of light. I know we cannot maximize this because it's an image, but it was easier. It was easier than having you downloading a picture from Instagram. So I am going to pick a little bit of this white, and I am going to start creating some details, like to create volume in the brushes, okay? With the tip of my brush. And even I can add some of these letters that are marked on the brush, like that. I am gonna do it on the next one, which is a black one and will be much more easily seen. I am going to create a light there and some of the lettering. And I'm gonna slightly do it in the other ones. With this same white color, I am going to add a little bit of white. No, it's not seen. Better off with a darker color. But these kind of details, it's what I will add as an example also in these pens. Like mine are still very, very wet. I'll try to see if it doesn't move around all that much. I'll see. Let me give it a try. Like on the surface of these pens, I am going to create some corners to give the illusion that there is a shine surface and a well. Again, mine is a little bit, it's still very, very wet, but I want you to see the idea of this. Just so that you have an idea of what we're doing. And we can even pick some of this if you want to and use it just a little bit to put on the sides. But this is acrylic, remember, it's not watercolor. Make sure to rinse your brushes very nicely when you finish using these white colors, okay? All right, getting closer to the end of our class today. Please let me remind you, when you will do homework, the idea is to draw not very rigid, and try, if you can, to draw with a charcoal pencil. If you are not interested on getting a charcoal pencil, that is very useful in the future. But if you're not interested, I just ask you, use any other type of media to draw your piece. And I want to give you an example, just in case you don't want to use charcoal, okay? So before showing you that, this is mostly it. If somebody wants to add more details, you can even add more shades on the palette. You can add the lettering on the watercolor pans or half pans, as they are called. But this is our piece. Because we ran out of glue, just remember to stick your piece of glue there because it looks beautiful, and that's our piece. Let me bring back just another example of the homework that I first did with charcoal, but I'm gonna do now with other materials. If you don't have a charcoal and you go, no, I don't wanna get a charcoal. Can you please? So I'm gonna pick a couple of things very quickly, just for you to see it. Like, if you say, what's the easiest color that you may have at home? Maybe a Crayola. Fine, I'm completely fine with you using a Crayola. Try to use a Crayola.
Crayon?
Like a crayon, yes, like a crayon, and use the green colors or use the colors that you like, but something that will, if you use the green will not look in the piece of the example. Can I grab this one from you, baby? Just a second. I'll be right back. As an example, I'm gonna create this. You can either use a Crayola or you can use as well like these small markers for kids. I'm fine with that. The only point is, don't go for a pencil. Don't go for a regular pencil. I want you to go beyond the standard way of drawing and painting so that you can discover more of your art. If we go with a pencil, it's the same result. I want you to experiment. I want you to really, truly, sometimes create a mess in the piece of paper. It's completely fine. Like I am going to show you. This is...
Can you paint over charcoal?
Yes, actually the idea is to paint over charcoal.
Should you spray the charcoal?
Don't spray the charcoal. Let the charcoal get mixed with the watercolor.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for. Get the charcoal mixing with the watercolor. But as an example, if you have like one of these are for kids, and you know what? These are water solubles. These are water solubles. But I want you to go for it. I truly want you to go for it. Like if you are going to draw with one of these, completely fine. I just want you to go very, very loose with it. I just want to show you, okay? I just want to show you. And if you are going to add some of the shades here, I'm doing it just very quickly. You can do it slowly. But if you can add more of these colors, like you're painting with them. But it's not going to be it. What's going to be it? I'll show you in a second. I'm going to grab some of the green. It's fine. Some of the green. Now, when you have the sketch, what I want you to do is grab your watercolors. Let me actually rinse this more. Grab your watercolors and go directly from your palette for the greens. And start painting on top of this. What is going to happen is that these markers are going to start dissolving. It's completely fine. Actually, that is really what I want you to do, to experiment with this, okay?
And you can use crayon too.
And you can use crayons if you want. Of course, crayons are not going to dissolve, but what I want you to do is experiment. And now, when experimenting, you may think, oh, Marco wants us to create a mess. No, it's not that I want you to create a mess. It's that I want you to experiment with different media.
Could you use pastels? Like
You could use
pastels?
pastels.
Those will dissolve,
Yes.
right, with the
You
water?
could use pastels.
Okay.
Marco, I was just saying that my daughter, when she was probably 5 or 6,
Uh-huh.
she came home with a great piece of artwork,
Oh.
and it was crayon and watercolor, and the crayon created a barrier.
Oh.
She made this beautiful bouquet of flowers, and so then she just watercolored inside of the crayon drawing, and it kept it from bleeding out, you know. And it was
Oh my,
gorgeous. I loved it. I framed it on my wall now.
that sounds awesome. That really sounds awesome. And that is why I'm saying just try to create something out of the materials that you have. It's not going to be exactly it, but if you want to keep going with it, okay, fine. Now you can grab your crayons and start going with your crayons when this is dry. In case you don't want to use the charcoal. As I told you before, you can use the charcoal. Now, if you're going to use crayons as an example, let me pull another piece of paper. Just a second.
That is so good.
I'm just trying to give you very quick examples. The idea, thank you.
Oh my God. How
And
did you do that?
can you please show it in the, because the colors may not come in the camera exactly it. Now, you want to use crayons? Okay, use crayons. Just, I want you to think about the looseness of the drawings. I want you to go very, very loose. Don't remove the crayon from where you are drawing. If you see these shapes, intentionally, that is why I picked, in Spanish, it said nefurones. This is nefurones. Sounds really nice. Water lilies in English. But that is why I want you to draw nefurones. Nefurones are something very artsy, and as you know, artists from the past used to, like Monet, used to use water lilies or nefurones in very, very important paintings. When you do this, same, you will still use your watercolors. I just want you to go very, very loose. Very, very loose. Don't think it a lot. If you see a color in your reference like this orangey, bring the orange. Play with it. Play with the orange. Play with it. Play with it. Don't think it needs to be perfect. You need a light on it, lift it. Lift it and create a light. All right? Please, what I mean to say is don't wait for it to be perfect. Have you saw probably even this one turns out even better, but this is the way I want you to try it at home. Go in very loose. You saw this. Now I want some orange, as there is some in the reference. When you let it sit, it'll come up beautiful. We need some very dark color there. Okay, use dark color, use the green, and see what happens. And see what happens. Let it sit.
The background too?
And yeah, and then same with the background, same with the background. The idea, what I'm trying to say is don't go perfect, okay? Because the way you do this, you lose it up, lose it up, lose it up. All right? So that's homework. It's a very experimental exercise. Next, yes.
Did you ever post the video of the beat?
I did. It's in YouTube, and you know what? I was very embarrassed, and I'm gonna say it. I sent an email. When I teach this class, since this is not my first language, sometimes I give examples of something fun in class that in the video sounded awful, and I was so embarrassed. So embarrassed. It sounded awful. That is why I didn't completely share it. But but I hope you enjoy it. Well, next class, let me ask you all a question. This is important.
It's listed on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, yes. And
Also in the link.
if you don't mind, give me your email address. And I have it. I send it by email.
Isn't it in the link in the email that we just got?
Yes, it's in the link of the last email that I sent. I just posted it very late. I'm sorry, very, very late. Okay, now next week we are going to be painting greenery. Just be excuse me, next class, not next week. Next month we are going to be painting like mostly plants. We might use 2 or 3 pages, and we're gonna go very, very loose. If you are able to get your charcoal pencils, will be fantastic. If not, it's fine. It's fine. Just remember, next class is gonna be more loose, even more loose. So the reference is gonna be printed. You won't have to scan it. It's gonna be mainly foliage, plants, leaves, and it's gonna be very fun next week. Next class. And I want to ask one question, and I'll ask to raise hands for whoever wants it. The following class after the greens class, which is in 2 months more, I want to ask you, would you like, it's next month is one, but the following one, after the following.
June 20th.
Yeah, the July class. Would any of you be interested on painting? I'm gonna give you 2 options on painting. 1 cute cat.
Yes.
How many cats?
What's the other option?
The other option is 1 cute dog.
Okay. The cat seems easier.
dogs. Seems like dogs are gonna be the thing, okay?
Easier.
Both are easy. Both are easy. Now, this is the thing. We are not going to draw it, okay? We're gonna transfer it. We're gonna transfer it because for everybody to get a nice result out of this, don't feel bad. I am going to bring the references in the size of your sketchbook, and we are gonna transfer it. Now, last question. I told you next class is greenery.
Yes.
It's free and loose. Would you like that better to be the dog class the next month?
No, greenery.
Greenery.
Yeah, we like greenery.
Okay, we'll keep the schedule for greenery next class. And so until the month of July, we are gonna paint one cute dog. Okay?
Okay.
So for the cute dog, I want you to ask you to please be on time. We are gonna start transferring the image. We are not gonna go into other details. You will transfer the image and we are gonna go painting it all together. If it is possible, because I don't wanna ask you for things if you don't have to, but if you can get yourself a fine line brush, please get it. Because of course, when we'll draw details of the fur, our student brushes in class are more difficult to control. So if you have the chance to get one fine, very fine brush, it would be great. I will send the recommendation by email, something inexpensive, okay? Something like $6 expensive, okay? I'll send it by email, all right? But it's until the month of July, all right? Good, so thank you very much, everyone, for joining class. Appreciate it a lot. Thank you. We are going to take a picture with our job. We made it. We finished it. We finished it. I'm so happy.
We did.
Sure.